Our next trend is electronegativity. So electronegativity is the tendency for an atom to attract electrons to itself when it's chemically combined with another element. You can kind of think of it as greediness for electrons. The more greedy an atom is for electrons, the more likely it is to steal electrons and take them and put them in their valence shell rather than lose electrons out of their valence shell. So if an element has a big electronegativity, it means that it pulls electrons towards itself strongly. In the tug of war for electrons, a big electronegative element is going to win that tug of war. So let's look at the group and period trends. So the further down a group, the further the electrons are away from the nucleus, because we have more shells as we go down each period. Plus, the more electrons the atom has, so there's greater shielding. So elements that are going down a group are more willing to share electrons than elements that are higher up on the group. So we have a lower electronegativity as you go down a group. If we look at the period trends, remember metals are on the left-hand side of the table. So this is period 4. The metals are outlined in blue here. So metals, we know, let their electrons go easily. One of the reasons is because they don't have a lot of protons. They have a very weak electronegativity. Non-metals are on the right-hand side of the staircase, so I outline them in red here, and they want more electrons. Their valence shells are almost full, and they have a lot of protons, so they can take them away from others and put them into their valence shell, so they'll become stable like noble gases. So metals on the right have high electronegativity. So as you go down a group, electronegativity gets smaller because each element has more shells, and there's also more shielding that's blocking the pull of protons. So they're not going to pull electrons in, they're going to give electrons away. And as you go across a period, electronegativity gets bigger because each element has more positive protons to pull other negative electrons in harder. Remember, opposites attract. Positive protons will be pulling in negative electrons and winning that tug of war for electrons. So this next picture summarizes both ionization and electronegativity trends. They increase in the same directions. So as we move to the right, both of those trends increase. We have a higher ionization energy because the protons are holding on to their own electrons tighter. And we have a higher electronegativity because the more protons, the more likely they are to pull on other negative electrons besides their own. Both trends also increase as you go up a group. Ionization energy and electronegativity are going to increase as you go up because there's less shells and less shielding. So the protons will have more of an influence on their own electrons and other electrons.